Dom, I know for me, once I was initially diagnosed, the need to sort of compare yourself to others started to be something that was more frequent in my life. Do you feel the urge to compare yourself to others living with MS?
That's a really good question, Brett. Do I now? No. I mean, I'm 53, going on 54 very shortly. So there's an element of, um, when you get older and grumpier, and it's like everyone else can go get knotted. Take MS out of the equation for a second. You're in your 20s or early 30s, yeah. You're still finding, to me, you're finding yourself. I have a 20-year-old daughter. You're comparing yourself. Where do I fit in the world and everything? And then bam, out of the side comes an MS diagnosis. And it's just like, well, that's rocked my world. So it's got to make all that finding your feet in life harder. Did that happen to me? Absolutely. Did I acknowledge it and engage with it? Absolutely not. I was shocking. If I could turn the clock back, I'd do that better. I'd engage with it, etc. There was no mobile phones when I was diagnosed. It's a joke. There's no social media, all that kind of stuff. So, but you hear about people on social media. If you use that to compare yourself, then I just think don't. You're you, and the other people out there, you don't know if they do.
Absolutely. Yeah, I always say that social media is a blessing and a curse, and it needs to be used very responsibly because there is a false sense of reality with filters and with editing and, with making everything seem pretty. So when I got on board with advocating for MS, I told myself, you know what, you're going to get the good, bad, and the ugly. And I think there's value in being transparent about the good things and the difficult obstacles that we face, because like you said, there was no social media. It's important to remember that what you see is not always what's real.
Yeah.
Do you find any inspiration from other people that have MS?
That's a good question. I feel more comfortable these days in who I am and what I'm doing. It's to say I don't take inspiration from people doesn't mean that I'm looking down on them. It's just, I don't know about you. You mentioned singing previously. You don't compare yourself to somebody who's learning to sing. You probably compare yourself to somebody who you look up to and think, if only I could sing like that.
Yes.
I used to, do a lot of climbing, and someone's going, "Oh, you should be happy with your climbing grade." I'm like, "Don't be ridiculous. I see the really good people that are better than me, and I want to be like
Right.
them."
And isn't that a push though? That's such a motivating push to like get yourself to level up and level up to the next
Level up is a good
accomplishment
phrase.
or achievement.
You know what a friend once said to me? She said, she was a doctor, and I used to be in the police reserve. So, but she said, if no one died and the police weren't involved, it's not that serious. And you see people freaking out about things, and I keep thinking, no one's dead. The police weren't there. Like this is not the end of the world, because social media can amplify it and
Yes. Absolutely.
make it worse. And I mean, look at you and me. We probably couldn't be more different in appearance. So for me to compare myself and hold my MS against you and all that kind of stuff would just, it would either make you feel bad or make me feel bad. It's something, there's not a lot of gain to be got out of saying, I'm not like Brit. I'm not like Dom. And
Yeah. Dom, if you were newly diagnosed, knowing what you know now about everything MS related, would you follow other MSers sooner, or would you choose not to?
I find it problematic when I see somebody or hear somebody who's been following something where you and I will probably, I say I've got a reasonable BS filter by now, and it's when you think, I understand why they've started to go down that route, but I'm not entirely sure that it has served their interests best, because really usually when somebody else is serving their interests and money's involved, when people are trying to sell you things, sell you a cure, a solution and stuff, it's used. And social media that's what I think it's misused for, is to sell false hope. That can be the downside, but it can be brilliant. I like Twitter. You get all the news there, you get stuff. Also, Twitter's good because if somebody's being an idiot, they tend to be called out. Whereas Instagram and Facebook, people can sort of just put stuff out and they don't have that same sort of interrogation back about, really?
I think it's rather like a buffet. You're not going to walk to a buffet and say, okay, I want everything here. You have to decide what works best for you, and sort of like a tickle. It's a tickle of saying, oh, wow, I could try that. Or wow, that seems interesting. So I think it's, it's a balancing act of figuring out the right algorithm of what works for you in particular. You have to like mentally check yourself to not fall into that rabbit hole, like you said, of comparing yourself, because then it's just, once you get in, it's just, oh, I can't do this, and oh, I wish this, and I wish that. How do you stay away from that negative headspace of comparing yourself to others?
Back to being an old fart, just don't care. You know what? If you're on a fishing boat with
Yes.
50 other people, as cool as that looks, great. Knock yourself out. Have a lovely day. I really hope you catch a big fish. It's just, you can't be everywhere all the time doing everything. I mean, what do they call it? FOMO. Fear of missing out.
Yes.
I'm me. I know what I'm gonna do. I'm happy. If I'm not happy, it's down to me to change it. Or etc. But this whole thing's about MS. It's there. It ain't going away. So let's just manage it and work around it. And you're not a lesser person for having MS, and you're not a better person for having MS. You're you.
Perfectly said, Dom. Perfectly said. We at Lived Health would love to hear your comments on this. So make sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell so you don't miss a new video. New videos are coming out every Tuesday, and comment. We want to hear what your thoughts are.